You know, we spend so much time waiting. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for someone to believe in us. Waiting for life to give us a sign. But what if I told you this is it? This moment, right now, is your sign. If this doesn't shake you awake, nothing will. I've walked through rooms where I was underestimated. I've sat at tables where I wasn't invited. And you know what? I built my own damn table. And I want you to remember something. You don't need approval to be powerful. You don't need permission to rise. You are born with wings. Stop waiting for someone to teach you how to fly. Just jump. And if you fall, good. Because those scrapes become your armor. That pain becomes your fuel. You've been told to wait your whole life. Wait until you're older. Wait until you're smarter. Wait until you're more prepared. But here's the truth no one tells you. Life isn't waiting for you. There is no perfect timing coming. There's no magical signal that says, "No, you're ready." The world doesn't operate on your schedule. It rewards those who move while others hesitate. If you keep standing still, hoping for the universe to hand you an invitation, you'll watch your potential gather dust. Every second you hesitate, someone else who's less talented, but more courageous, is taking the opportunity you were meant for. Think about the number of ideas you've had that you never acted on. All the passion you felt in your gut, silenced by fear. Why? Because you thought you weren't ready. But tell me, when have you ever grown by standing still? Growth happens in motion. Confidence is born in action. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to start anyway. That's what separates dreamers from doors. The dreamers are still making excuses. The doers are building empires in silence. And the only difference between the two is one thing: action. Every story you admire, every person you look up to, they didn't wait. They didn't need a guarantee. They started with shaky hands and uncertain steps. They failed. But they moved. And with every move, they learned. With every mistake, they grew. They didn't wait for motivation to strike. They created their own momentum. If you're standing still, drowning in what ifs, just know this: no one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. You have to shake yourself out of comfort and walk straight into the fire of your own potential. Right now, you have everything you need to begin. Not everything you need to finish, that will come. But everything you need to start, that's already inside you. Your doubt, your fear, your insecurities, they're not proof that you're unworthy. They're proof that you're about to do something big, something real, something that matters. The most successful people in the world didn't wait until they were fearless. They acted while afraid, and that's what gave them power. If you keep looking for signs, let this be it. Let these words be your alarm clock. Let this message shake you awake. Stop sitting on your dreams like they're fine china, meant for a special occasion. Your life is the special occasion. Every delay is another dream denied. You weren't born to repeat the same day on loop, silently craving more. You were born to create, to build, to become. And you can't become anything by standing still. So don't wait. Not another hour. Not another excuse. If it's in your heart, it's there for a reason. Honor it. Chase it. Demand it. You've waited long enough. The moment is no longer on its way. The moment is here. And it's yours to take, if you have the courage to move. There's a moment in life where you realize you've been knocking on doors that were never meant to open for you. You've been waiting politely, dressed in potential, hoping someone will notice you and hand you a seat at the table. But here's the truth: sometimes they see you and still choose to ignore you. Not because you're not worthy, but because they fear the power you carry. And in that moment, you have two choices: keep waiting or build your own table. The people you admire didn't wait for an invitation. They carved out space for themselves, not because it was easy, but because they refused to remain unseen. You weren't born to fit into someone else's blueprint. You were born to design your own. The world has conditioned us to crave validation, to think that success must be granted. But real power begins the moment you stop asking for permission. When they say you're not qualified, smile and say, I'll make my own lane. When they say you don't belong, respond, then I'll create a place where I do. Building your own table isn't about arrogance. It's about reclaiming your voice. It's about walking into your power with such conviction that it becomes impossible for anyone to deny your presence. Do you know what happens when you start creating your own space? You stop shrinking to fit rooms that were never designed for your greatness. You stop bending just to be accepted. Suddenly, you're not the outsider. They are. And the irony, the same people who ignored you at their table will try to pull up a chair at yours. That's the beauty of rising silently but boldly. You build something so magnetic, so undeniably powerful, that even the ones who doubted you can't look away. And by then, it's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you were right to believe. But let's be honest, it's not easy. Building your own table means starting from the ground up. It means long nights, closed doors, and fighting voices, inside and out, that tell you to quit. You will be overlooked. You will be doubted. But let that fuel you. Let every no sharpen your vision. Let every dismissal remind you that your worth is not up for negotiation. Because when you create from that fire, you don't just build a table. You build a legacy, one that echoes louder than any applause from those who never clapped for you. We often think success is about arriving somewhere. But true success, it's in the becoming. It's in every step you took when no one was watching, every silent victory, every inner war you won. It's in the fact that you didn't give up when you had every reason to. When you build your own table, you stop being a guest in someone else's narrative. You become the author. You become the architect. You decide what's served, who's seated, and what kind of energy is allowed near your space. That's not just success. That's power. And it's the kind of power they can't take from you. So ask yourself, why wait to be chosen when you can choose yourself? Why beg for scraps when you can serve a feast from your own table? There's something revolutionary about believing in yourself so fiercely that the world has no choice but to notice. It's not about proving your worth. It's about remembering that you've always had it. They didn't give it to you, so they can't take it away. The next time they forget to invite you, don't get bitter. The world is loud, so loud, in fact, that we often forget what our own voice even sounds like. Every day, we're hit with opinions, judgments, and whispers that try to shape who we are. You're too ambitious. You're not talented enough. You should be more like them. These voices don't just come from the outside. They creep in, they echo, they start to feel like truth. But here's the reality: those voices aren't yours. They don't know your journey, your resilience, your dreams. The real tragedy isn't when the world doubts you. It's when you start to believe them and silence yourself in the process. Your voice, raw, unfiltered, and honest, is your greatest weapon. It's the compass that leads you toward your truth, your goal, your purpose. But we're trained to mute it. We're taught to be agreeable, to not rock the boat, to make ourselves smaller so others feel bigger. And in doing that, we lose ourselves. The moment you decide to trust your voice, you take back your power. You stop needing validation from people who never saw your worth to begin with. You stop dimming your light just to keep others comfortable in their shadows. The volume of your voice doesn't matter. It's the conviction behind it that does. Critics will always be there. The more you rise, the louder they get. But here's the secret they don't want you to know. They only get loud because your presence threatens their comfort. People mock what they don't understand. They attack what they can't control. So let them talk. Let them speculate. Their noise is a reflection of their limitations, not yours. When you focus on their voices, you abandon your own. But when you center your truth, everything else fades into background static. You stop performing for approval and start living in alignment with your power. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's not handed to you. It's not reserved for the lucky or the chosen. It's a decision, a bold, relentless decision to believe in yourself even when it's hard, even when no one else does. It's waking up every day and choosing to show up as your full, unfiltered self. Confidence is built like muscle, rep by rep, decision by decision. It grows every time you speak up when you want to stay silent. Every time you keep going when quitting would be easier. Every time you choose your voice over their opinions. There will be moments when your voice trembles, when doubt creeps in, when fear gets louder than faith. That's normal. But even in those moments, your voice matters. Especially then, speak anyway, act anyway, trust anyway. Because courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means trusting yourself in the presence of it. You don't need to be fearless to move forward. You just need to believe that your voice is worth hearing. And it is. It always has been. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs your authentic sound. So when the world gets too loud, get quiet. Go inward. Reconnect with the version of you that's been buried under expectations and opinions. Let that version speak. Let it lead. Your voice is the thread that ties your dreams to reality. Follow it. Trust it. Got it? Because once you stop chasing noise and start honoring your own sound, you become unstoppable. Not because the critics stop talking, but because their voices no longer hold power over you. Pain isn't just something we survive. It's something we can use. Every scar tells a story, and every setback holds a lesson. But most of us try to escape our pain. We numb it, avoid it, pretend it never happened. And in doing so, we waste some of the most powerful fuel life gives us. What if, instead of burying our pain, we harnessed it? What if every wound became a reason to rise, not a reason to retreat? Pain sharpens you. It wakes you up. It forces you to grow in ways that comfort never could. You were not meant to break. You were meant to burn brighter because of what tried to break you. Think of your lowest moments. The heartbreaks, the failures, the nights where you questioned your worth. Those were not endings. They were the beginning of something deeper. A fire being lit inside you. Pain is pressure, and pressure makes diamonds. But only if you allow it. You can either let pain paralyze you or let it energize you. You can either carry it like a burden or use it like a torch. The choice is yours. You don't have to enjoy the pain, but you must respect it. Because buried inside every painful experience is a power you haven't tapped into yet. That power, that's your edge, that's your story, that's your fuel. Everyone loves to talk about success, but what really changes you is what tried to destroy you. The betrayals, the rejections, the breakdowns, these are your teachers. They strip away the illusion and show you what you're made of. And in those moments, when you're at your weakest, you meet a version of yourself you didn't know existed. The fighter, the survivor, the builder. That version of you doesn't rely on applause or approval. It runs on truth, on resilience, on grit. And once you meet that version, you don't fear pain anymore. You welcome it. Because you know how to turn it into fuel. There's something magnetic about someone who has turned their pain into purpose. You can see it in their eyes. You can hear it in their voice. They don't speak from theory. They speak from experience. And people feel that. That's what makes you unforgettable. Your pain makes your journey relatable. It gives your success depth. It transforms your voice into something that not only inspires others but awakens them. That's not weakness. That's your strength. The kind of strength that can't be faked. The kind that makes people lean in because they sense you've lived what you're preaching. You have every right to cry, to feel, to grieve. But once the tears dry, stand up. Not because it's easy, but because you must. You owe it to the fire inside you to use that pain. Let it remind you of what you're fighting for. Let it be the reason you push harder, work longer, and believe deeper. Let it be the silent engine behind every move you make. When others quit because it hurts, you'll rise because it hurts. That's the difference. That's how pain becomes purpose. Not overnight, but moment by moment, choice by choice, step by step. The truth is, pain changes you, but you get to decide how. Will it harden your heart or make you wiser? Will it chain you down or set you free? The people who rise aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refused to let pain define them. They let it refine them. So the next time life hurts, don't run, don't hide. Stand in the fire, feel it fully, and then use it. Let it shape you, drive you, elevate you. That pain wasn't meant to end you. It was meant to ignite you. Greatness isn't born in easy moments. It doesn't bloom in comfort or predictability. It's built slowly and painfully in the fire of life's hardest trials. The truth no one wants to say out loud is this: if you want to be powerful, you have to be willing to suffer for it. Not in silence, not as a victim, but as someone who understands that pain is part of the transformation. Diamonds are just carbon until they're crushed and pressurized into brilliance. You are no different. The pressure you're under right now, it's not here to break you, it's here to polish you. It's here to push you to discover just how strong, how smart, how unstoppable you really are. The world is full of people who quit before they rise. People who wanted greatness, but not the fire that came with it. But you, if you truly want to stand out, you must be willing to stay in the fire long enough to be transformed by it. Don't run from the pain. Don't look for shortcuts. The struggle you're in is shaping you into the kind of person who can hold greatness and not shatter under the weight. The fire reveals the flaws, the weaknesses, the ego. It burns away the parts of you that can't carry the dream. And when it's done, what's left is real. What's left is power. No one claps for the process. They cheer for the result. But what they don't see are the nights you cried in silence, the days you fought to keep going when everything screamed, stop. They don't see the countless failures, the heavy self-doubt, the moments where you almost gave up but chose not to. That's what builds greatness. Not applause, but resistance. Not talent, but resilience. It's the ability to get up again and again, no matter how badly you were knocked down. That's what makes legends. That's what makes your name unforgettable. There will be moments where the heat feels unbearable, where it feels like life is testing you more than you can handle. But trust this, fire doesn't just destroy, it refines. Every great person you admire has been through their own version of this fire. What separates them from the rest isn't luck, it's endurance. It's the decision to keep walking through the storm even when there's no promise of sunshine on the other side. Greatness is a lonely road, but it's also a sacred one. One that calls only to the few who are brave enough to rise from their ashes. Struggle isn't a setback. It's the training ground for power. It's the forge where your character, your mindset, and your purpose are sharpened. And once you've been through that fire, no one can take your strength from you. It's earned. It's embedded into your soul. You start to move differently. You stop begging for approval. You stop fearing failure. Because you know what you've survived, and you trust yourself in a way that no one else can match. That is what the fire gives you. Undeniable, unshakable belief in who you are becoming. So when life gets hard, when the fire rages, when you feel like breaking, remember what's being built. Remember that the fire isn't the end. It's the beginning of your becoming. It's turning you into a version of yourself that's more powerful than you've ever imagined. And one day, when you're standing tall, unbreakable, undeniable, they'll ask how you did it. And you'll look them in the eyes and say, I was forged in fire. There's a lie we've all been sold. The idea that we need to feel ready before we begin. That some magical moment will come where the fear disappears, the path is clear, and the confidence arrives fully formed. But the truth, that moment never comes. Waiting to feel ready is just another form of procrastination, wearing the mask of logic. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of overthinking, constantly planning and preparing but never doing. You don't need to be ready, you just need to begin. Because action, raw, imperfect, messy action, is the only thing that builds momentum. It's not about perfection, it's about movement. The most successful people in the world didn't start when they felt fully prepared. They started scared. They started uncertain. They started without guarantees. But they moved anyway. And that decision to act, to take that first unsteady step, is what separated them from the ones who stayed still. Readiness is not a prerequisite for greatness. Growth happens in the doing. Confidence isn't a starting point. It's a result. You earn it by showing up when everything inside you says you're not ready. Every great leap begins with a little bit of doubt and a whole lot of courage. When you act, even before you're fully ready, something powerful happens. The fog begins to lift. You gain insight, feedback, and experience that no amount of planning could ever give you. You start to learn what works and what doesn't. You start to discover your strengths, confront your weaknesses, and adjust along the way. It's the act of doing that sharpens your direction. It's like driving at night. You don't need to see the whole road. You just need to see the next few feet. And if you keep moving, those few feet will take you exactly where you need to go. Fear loves stillness. It grows in silence. The longer you wait, the louder your doubts become. But once you move, even a little, you interrupt that pattern. You take back your power from hesitation and hand it to action. Even if you fail, you're learning. Even if it's messy, you're progressing. And that progress compounds. One step turns into two. One action turns into a habit. One decision turns into a transformation. You don't need a map to start. You need a reason. And if your dream means something to you, that reason should be enough. The people who wait to feel ready usually never move. They live their whole lives on pause, waiting for the perfect conditions, the right moment, the green light that never comes. Meanwhile, those who choose to move, flawed, afraid, and unfinished, create the very readiness they were searching for. They're not smarter. They're not more talented. They're just more willing to trust that the road will rise to meet them as they walk it. They know that clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing, and the cost of waiting, missed opportunities, untapped potential, and dreams that slowly fade into regret. So take the shot, make the call, launch the idea, write the words, start the journey. You're not supposed to be perfect at the beginning. That's why it's the beginning. What matters is that you begin. Action invites growth. It invites failure, yes, but also strength. The sooner you start, the faster you learn. And every step, no matter how small, is proof that you believe in something bigger than your fear. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for certainty. Move now. The readiness you're looking for, you'll build it on the way. So here it is, your moment of truth. You can wait for the stars to align, for fear to vanish, for certainty to arrive wrapped in comfort. Or you can move now, not because you're fully ready, but because you're done letting hesitation write your story. Every dream you've buried under doubt, every goal you've delayed in the name of perfection, bring them back. Act not in confidence, but in commitment. Because action is what transforms hesitation into momentum and uncertainty into growth. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. The journey will shape you, strengthen you, and prepare you far more than standing still ever will. Greatness doesn't wait for readiness. It responds to movement. So move now.